Let me begin with a truth so simple and yet so powerful. Most people spend a lifetime missing it. You are selling every single day of your life. Yes, you. Whether you sit behind a desk, work on the factory floor, run a company, or raise a family, you are in sales. You sell ideas. You sell your value. You sell your vision of who you are and what you deserve. Some people hear the word salesman and shrink from it. They picture a slick-talking hustler, peddling things no one wants. But that is not sales. That is failure disguised as charm. Real sales, the kind that transforms lives, is nothing more than the ability to create confidence in others, to inspire trust, to show them how your idea, your product, your presence makes their life better. And here's the first great lesson. The man who masters selling will never starve. He may stumble. He may lose his job. He may be beaten down by circumstances, but he will never stay down. Because wherever he goes, he can offer value and persuade others to see it. Now think about what that means. If you can sell your way through life, you don't depend on luck. You don't depend on someone noticing you, promoting you, rescuing you. You depend on you, and that is a far more reliable partner. You sell your way into opportunities others miss. You sell your way through doors others never even see. You sell your way out of failure and into possibility. That is what this book and this principle is about. Not about convincing someone to buy what they don't need, but about convincing yourself first and then the world that what you have to offer matters. Because here's the hard truth. If you cannot sell yourself, you cannot expect others to believe in you either. What does this look like? It looks like showing up each day and asking, how can I make someone's life better today? It looks like speaking with conviction when you describe what you do. It looks like understanding what others need before you open your mouth, and then offering it to them with clarity and confidence. You might say, but I'm not a salesman. Yes, you are. When you interview for a job, you're selling. When you ask someone to marry you, you're selling. When you teach your children right from wrong, you're selling. When you convince yourself to get up and keep going after a setback, you're selling to the most important customer of all, yourself. So stop running from the word. Stop looking at sales as something other people do. Because the moment you understand that you are already selling every day, you reclaim control of your future. The question isn't whether you'll sell your way through life. You already are. The question is whether you'll learn to do it well, on purpose, with honor and skill, or whether you'll leave it to chance. And if you choose to master it, to own it, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Now, let's look closer at what it really means to sell your way through life and why most people fail at it. You see, most men go through life believing they must wait for someone else to give them permission. They wait for a boss to notice their work. They wait for an opportunity to magically appear. They wait for someone to recognize their worth. And so, they live small. They shrink themselves to fit someone else's expectations. They accept whatever comes because they don't yet understand that life does not reward those who wait. It rewards those who ask. Salesmanship begins with asking for attention, asking for the chance to serve, asking for the opportunity to show what you can do. Because the man who never asks will never receive. Think about it. Every great advancement in your life so far, no matter how small, came because at some point you asked. You asked to be hired. You asked to be trusted. You asked to be loved. And you were willing to take the risk of hearing no. That willingness is what separates the salesman from the spectator. Now let me make something clear. Selling yourself and your ideas is not about arrogance. It's not about shouting louder or pushing harder than everyone else. It's about understanding that you already possess something of value and offering it to others in a way that benefits them. And that is the second great lesson of salesmanship. You succeed in direct proportion to the number of people you help succeed. This means that before you open your mouth, before you present your case, before you try to close the deal, you must understand the person in front of you. What does he want? What keeps her awake at night? What problem is he trying to solve? What dream is she trying to reach? If you don't know those answers, you're not selling, you're guessing. And the world does not reward guesswork. The successful salesman, whether in the marketplace or in life, learns to observe, to listen, to ask the right questions, until he can see the world through the other person's eyes. Only then can he present his idea, his product, his solution, and show how it meets that person's need. That is not manipulation, it is service. It is helping people get what they want so that you can, in turn, get what you want. And here's the beauty of it. When you approach life this way, people stop seeing you as a nuisance and start seeing you as an ally. They begin to welcome you, to open doors for you, to invite you into places others are barred from, because you've proven yourself valuable. So I say again, you are already selling every day. The question is, are you doing it consciously, with skill and purpose? Or are you letting chance and fear dictate your results? Decide now that you will take responsibility for your future. Decide now that you will no longer wait for permission. Decide now that you will become the kind of person who brings so much value to others that the world can't help but say yes. That is what it means to sell your way through life. And anyone can do it, if they choose. Now let me share with you a secret that separates the master salesman from the mediocre one. You see, selling your way through life is not just about what you say or what you offer, it's about who you are. Because people don't just buy products, services, or ideas, they buy confidence. They buy belief. They buy the feeling that comes from dealing with someone who knows where he's going. That's why the first and greatest sale you must ever make is to yourself. Before you convince another soul of your value, you must be convinced of it yourself. So many men fail because deep down they doubt. They carry themselves as if they're apologizing for being here, as if they're asking permission to succeed. But the man who truly believes in his value, who knows that what he offers is worthy, does not need to beg or chase or deceive. He speaks with quiet confidence, and others feel it. They lean in. They trust. They follow. And here is where most people get it wrong. Confidence is not arrogance. Confidence is not loudness. Confidence is not pretending to be more than you are. Real confidence comes from knowing you've prepared yourself, knowing you've developed skill, knowing you're offering something that genuinely improves the life of the other person. That's why I say, sales begins long before you open your mouth. It begins with preparation. It begins with your mindset. It begins with the way you carry yourself into the room. When you walk in, the other person senses immediately whether you believe in yourself or whether you're hoping they'll believe for you. So ask yourself, would you buy from you? Would you follow you? Would you invest in you? If the answer is no, then you know where to begin. Start by mastering the fundamentals of your craft. Study yourself. Improve yourself. Build habits that breed confidence, discipline, integrity, clarity of purpose. And then watch how others respond. Because here's the truth. No one buys doubt. No one follows indecision. No one invests in weakness. But when you stand in front of them fully believing in your own worth, when you carry yourself like a man who knows what he offers, others can't help but take notice. They'll listen, they'll consider, and more often than not, they'll say yes. That is the real magic of selling your way through life. It's not about clever words or tricky techniques. It's about becoming the kind of person who inspires confidence in others because you first inspired it in yourself. So I challenge you, today and every day after, look in the mirror and ask, am I someone I would believe in? And if the answer is anything but yes, start selling yourself on your own potential until there is no doubt left. Once you do that, the rest of the world will follow. Now let me show you one more essential truth about selling your way through life. It's not just about transactions, it's about transformation. Too many people think of sales as a single moment, the handshake, the signature, the yes. But in reality, every successful sale is the result of a series of moments, each one building trust, understanding, and respect. This is why your focus must always be on creating value before you ask for anything in return. You cannot force anyone to say yes. You cannot demand loyalty, trust, or cooperation. But you can earn it by proving, through your words and actions, that you care as much about their success as your own. This is the third great lesson of selling your way through life. You win by helping others win first. When you approach a customer, an employer, a partner, or even a friend, and your only thought is, what can I get from them? You've already lost. But when you come in asking, how can I help them? How can I solve their problem, ease their burden, make their life better? You become valuable in their eyes. You become someone they want to say yes to. And here's the irony. The more you focus on their needs, the more yours get met. That's because human beings are wired to reciprocate. We remember those who help us. We prefer those who respect us. We trust those who listen to us. But so few people take the time to do these simple things that when you do, you stand out immediately. Now let's talk about the practical side. How do you become the kind of person who helps others win? First, listen more than you speak. Most people are too busy rehearsing what they're going to say next to hear what's actually being said. But when you listen deeply, you discover what they truly need, not just what they say they want. Second, learn to see beyond the obvious. What someone asks for and what they actually need are often two different things. Your job is to uncover the deeper need and meet it. Third, deliver more than you promise. If you say you'll call on Tuesday, call Monday. If you say you'll deliver value, deliver more than they expect. That's how you build trust that lasts far beyond a single transaction. And fourth, treat every interaction as if it matters, because it does. You never know who someone knows, what position they may rise to, or what influence they may have tomorrow. When you treat everyone with respect and offer value freely, you create a web of goodwill that can support you for years to come. So remember, selling your way through life is not just about convincing others of your value. It's about proving it over and over again by making their lives better for having met you. Do that consistently, and you won't need to chase success. It will come looking for you. Now, let's talk about one of the most overlooked and most powerful aspects of selling your way through life: persistence. Because here's the truth. No matter how good you are, no matter how much you prepare, no matter how much value you offer, you will still hear the word no. Again, and again, and again. And that's where most people stop. They take the first no as final. They take rejection as a sign they're not good enough, not ready, not worthy. And so they quit. But let me tell you something that every great salesman learns. No doesn't mean never, it usually just means not yet. Most of your competitors will give up after one no. A few may try twice. But the rare ones, the ones who keep showing up, keep refining their approach, keep believing in their value, those are the ones who succeed. Because people don't always say no because they don't want what you offer. They say no because they're not ready. They say no because they don't trust you yet. They say no because they don't fully understand how much you can help them. And that's your opportunity, not your defeat. Persistence is what keeps you in the game long enough to win. It's what proves to others that you believe in what you're offering, and that they can believe in you too. Now here's an important distinction. Persistence does not mean being pushy. It does not mean ignoring people's needs or boundaries. It means staying present. It means following up with care and respect. It means continuing to serve even when the answer is not immediate. Here's how you develop true persistence. First, detach your self-worth from the outcome. When someone says no, they are not rejecting you. They are rejecting the offer, the timing, or perhaps even themselves. Second, keep improving. Every rejection is feedback. What could you explain better? How could you listen more? What did you miss? Third, set your sights on the long term. The man who plays the short game burns out quickly. But the man who plants seeds today, knowing they may not bear fruit until tomorrow, that man always has a harvest. And fourth, stay energized by your purpose. If you believe in what you're offering, if you know it can truly help people, then it is your duty to keep going, to keep offering, to keep showing up. Because the truth is, you never know how close you are to a breakthrough. One more call, one more meeting, one more conversation, and the door you've been knocking on finally opens. So don't stop too soon. Don't let a temporary setback convince you to abandon your mission. Selling your way through life is not just about skill, it's about stamina. It's about having the courage to keep asking, to keep offering, to keep believing, even when the world tells you no. And when you do, you'll discover that persistence is more than just a habit. It's your superpower. Now let's address one of the most misunderstood truths about selling your way through life. Your ability to sell is directly tied to your ability to control your own mind. Yes, your thoughts, your attitude, your emotional state, because no matter how polished your technique, if your mind is full of fear, doubt, and negativity, it will leak through everything you say and do. You've seen it yourself. A man walks into a room, shoulders slumped, eyes down, voice timid. He could have the best product in the world, but no one believes him because he doesn't believe himself. Compare that to the man who walks in with quiet confidence, a calm focus, and genuine enthusiasm. Even before he speaks, people feel his conviction. They want to hear what he has to say. That difference comes from what's happening between his ears. Here's the fourth great lesson of salesmanship. You must sell yourself to yourself before you can sell anything to anyone else. How do you do that? By mastering your thoughts, by learning to replace fear with faith, doubt with determination, and worry with purposeful action. Because the greatest obstacle in selling and in life isn't the competition, it isn't the market, it isn't the prospect, it's your own internal resistance. If you don't believe in yourself, you're asking others to believe something you don't, and people can feel it. So train your mind the same way an athlete trains his body. Feed it positive, empowering thoughts daily. Guard it against negativity. Surround yourself with people who believe in possibilities, not just problems. And when doubt arises, and it will, face it directly and replace it with action. Because you can't think your way out of fear, you must act your way through it. Here are some simple practices to strengthen your mental posture. Begin each day by affirming your value. Tell yourself, what I offer matters, what I offer helps, what I offer is worth saying yes to. Visualize your success. See yourself walking into the room with confidence, speaking clearly, watching people nod and smile as they understand the value you bring. Prepare relentlessly. Confidence grows when you know you're ready, when you've done your homework, when you've anticipated questions, when you know you can deliver. Fear has no place to hide. And finally, act even when you don't feel ready, because nothing builds confidence faster than taking imperfect action and learning as you go. Remember this: your mind is either your greatest salesman or your greatest saboteur. If you let it run wild with fear and doubt, it will talk you out of success every time. But if you train it, if you fill it with courage and clarity, it will help you sell your way through any obstacle. So start here. Today, close the sale with yourself first, because once your own mind says yes, it becomes much easier for everyone else to say yes too. Now let me share with you one more vital element of selling your way through life, something so simple, yet so few truly master it: your ability to build relationships. Because in the end, all sales and all success are built on one thing: people. You can have the best product, the smartest pitch, the most polished presentation, but if you can't connect with people, genuinely connect, your progress will always be limited. People don't buy from you because you're clever. They don't buy because you're the loudest or the most persistent. They buy because they trust you. They buy because they like you. They buy because they feel you see them as more than just another transaction. That's why the greatest salesmen are also the greatest students of human nature. They pay attention. They remember names, faces, and details that others overlook. They notice the way someone reacts when a topic excites them, and when it makes them uneasy. They don't just speak, they listen. They listen for what's said and for what's left unsaid. And here's a truth you must understand. When someone feels truly seen and heard by you, they're already halfway to saying yes. So how do you build this kind of connection? First, approach every interaction as if it matters, because it does. Don't just focus on the big players and ignore the rest. You never know who someone is, who they'll become, or how they might change your life tomorrow. Second, learn to ask good questions. Not just surface level ones, but questions that show you care about their goals, their struggles, their dreams. When you ask sincerely, you discover the real needs beneath the obvious ones. And when you uncover those real needs, you can offer solutions no one else even thought of. Third, show respect, always, even if the answer is no, even if they seem rude, distracted, or dismissive. Your reaction in those moments speaks louder than anything you say when times are easy. Fourth, keep your word. If you promise something, deliver it. If you say you'll follow up, do it. Trust is built brick by brick, and every little promise you keep adds another brick to the foundation. Finally, be patient. People don't always make decisions on your timeline. Sometimes they need time to think, to feel, to decide. Your job is to stay present, to stay helpful, to stay respectful, so that when they are ready, you're the first person they think of. Remember this: people may forget what you said. They may even forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And if you can make them feel respected, understood, and valued, you'll never lack for opportunities, allies, or success. Selling your way through life isn't just about moving products or closing deals. It's about building bridges, one human connection at a time. So start today. Look into the eyes of the people you meet. Listen more deeply. Care more sincerely. And watch how quickly doors begin to open where you once saw only walls. Now, let's talk about a habit that can multiply your influence and income more than almost anything else. The habit of doing more than you're paid for. This is one of the most powerful lessons in all of sales and in life, yet so few people ever embrace it. Why? Because most people are trapped in a minimum effort mindset. They ask, what's the least I can do and still get paid? They think, why should I give more if I'm not getting more? They see their work as a burden to endure instead of an opportunity to shine. But here's what the wise man knows. You are not paid merely for the time you put in. You are paid for the value you create. And the more value you create, the more indispensable you become. The man who does only what he's paid for is replaceable. But the man who constantly delivers more than expected is priceless. Here's the paradox. You don't get paid more before you deliver more. You get paid more because you deliver more. That's why this habit is so rare and so powerful. Most people wait for a bigger paycheck before they give a bigger effort. But life doesn't work that way. Life pays you back after you prove you can handle more, not before. So make it your mission to exceed expectations in everything you do. Do it not just for your boss, or your customer, or your client, but for yourself. Because each time you go beyond what's required, you're not just building someone else's success. You're building your own character, your own confidence, your own reputation. Let me give you some practical ways to put this into action. When you deliver your product or service, ask yourself, what's one extra thing I can add to surprise and delight? When you show up to work, be early. Stay late when necessary. Show that you care. When you finish a task, don't stop. Look around and ask, what else needs to be done? When others are satisfied with good enough, you reach for excellence. You'll quickly discover something incredible. People start noticing you. They start trusting you with more responsibility. They start offering you opportunities that others never even see. And here's the secret benefit no one tells you about. The habit of doing more than you're paid for creates a kind of invisible capital. It builds goodwill, loyalty, and influence that money alone can never buy. It also changes you. It builds discipline. It sharpens your skills. It fills you with quiet confidence because you know you've earned every bit of success you enjoy. So don't ask what you can get from life. Ask what more you can give. And when you give more than you're paid for, you'll soon find you're being paid more than you ever thought possible. In money, in respect, in opportunities, and in the joy of knowing you've mastered yourself. That, my friend, is how you sell your way through life. By giving more than anyone expects and watching as the world rushes to reward you. Now let's address something that scares many people but sets the best apart: the willingness to take initiative. You see, too many people go through life waiting for someone to tell them what to do, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for permission. And so they watch as others, those with no more talent or intelligence than they have, step forward, take action, and claim the rewards. Why? Because the world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do. And the man who acts, even imperfectly, will always outrun the man who waits. This is the fifth great lesson of salesmanship. Opportunities are not given, they are seized. When you see a need, fill it. When you spot a problem, solve it. When you hear a complaint, offer a solution. Don't wait for someone to ask you to step up. Don't wait to be formally appointed or approved. If it's worth doing and you can do it, then move. That habit of initiative sends a powerful message to everyone around you that you can be trusted, that you're a leader, that you're someone who creates results instead of excuses. And here's another secret. People respect and follow those who move first, because most people are looking for someone to light the way. When you take that first step, you make it easier for others to follow. Now you might say, but what if I fail? What if I make a mistake? And here is where the real magic lies. Even if you fail, you've already gained more than the man who never tried. You gain experience. You gain knowledge. You gain resilience. And you gain the respect of those who see you're willing to take risks for what you believe in. Here are some simple ways to build your initiative muscle. When you see something that needs doing, don't wait for permission, just do it. When you get an idea, write it down and take the first small step to bring it to life today, not someday. When you sense hesitation in a group, be the one to say, I'll go first. And watch how quickly people begin to look to you for leadership. Because initiative, like confidence, is contagious. It inspires trust, loyalty, and opportunity. Because people know they can count on you to act when it matters most. Remember, life does not reward those who wait their turn. It rewards those who step forward with courage, take responsibility, and create value where others see none. So today, stop waiting for your chance. Your chance is here, it always has been. And the moment you decide to act, you begin selling yourself not just as someone who works, but as someone who leads. And the world always has a place for those who lead. And now we come to the final and perhaps most profound truth about selling your way through life. Your success is not just about what you get, it's about who you become. Too many people approach life as if it were a series of trades. They think, if I do this, I'll get that. If I give this, I'll receive that. And while it's true that giving precedes getting, the real reward lies deeper than any paycheck or applause. The real reward is the growth you experience along the way. Every time you approach someone with confidence instead of fear, you become stronger. Every time you offer more than you're paid for, you build character. Every time you choose persistence over quitting, you forge resilience. Every time you see a need and take initiative to fill it, you become a leader. And all of this compounds into something far greater than a single sale or promotion. It shapes you into the kind of person others admire, trust, and want to follow. This is why selling your way through life is not just a skill. It's a philosophy, a way of living. You don't just sell products. You sell faith in yourself, in your vision, in the value you bring. You sell possibility to people who may have forgotten how to dream. You sell courage by being the first to step forward, even when no one else does. And here's the most beautiful part. When you live this way long enough, you reach a point where the rewards you chased in the beginning, money, status, recognition, start chasing you instead. Because the world can't help but notice a man who rises each day determined to create value, to lift others, to exceed expectations, to keep going when others stop. So let me leave you with this. Every morning, you wake up with a choice. You can go through the day as just another face in the crowd, waiting for life to hand you something. Or you can walk out the door, determined to make your own way, to sell your ideas, your vision, your worth, to everyone you meet. Not through force, not through manipulation, but through service, through confidence, through persistence, through initiative, through the quiet, steady habit of always giving more than you take. Because the world belongs to those who refuse to sit quietly on the sidelines of their own lives. It belongs to those who dare to stand up, step forward, and say, I have something to offer and it matters. You can sell your way through life. You already are. The only question that remains is, will you sell consciously, courageously, and with excellence, or will you let the opportunity slip by unnoticed? Decide today that you will no longer wait, no longer doubt, no longer hide. Decide that you will sell your way through every obstacle, every rejection, every challenge, until you stand at the top of your own mountain, knowing you earned every step. That is your right. That is your privilege. That is your responsibility. And when you live this way, success is not just possible, it is inevitable.